I'm Charlie McKenna with LudaSkew, and today we're here to talk about my knife kit. So a lot of people ask me what knives I use, what thermometers I use, what tools I use, so I thought it would be good to kind of go through my knife kit. As you see here, I have the Yeti Go box that I kind of built into my knife kit. The reason I do this is because it has a nice hard shell, and I do a lot of traveling cooking, so I go to a lot of events that aren't in Chicago. That way I put this in a box, check it on a plane, I know that all my gear is protected and gonna make it there safe and sound. So we'll open this thing up, kind of pop it open. We'll kind of get into this first box here. It's kind of a miscellaneous box. It's a black box, but in here I definitely have a scale. One thing is I like to do all my recipes by weight, and the reason why is because I can scale them up and down based off how much I need to produce or how many people I'm cooking for. So I always bring a scale. Next thing I have in here is an infrared thermometer from ThermoWorks. This is nice because I can just shoot temperatures. When you travel and cook on a bunch of different people's equipment, whether that be ovens or smokers, I can use this to make sure that the temperatures inside the smoker or inside the grill are actually what I need them to be and cooking where I need to be. Next thing I have in here definitely is I always bring a timer or a clock as well, and then set timers and alarms so when I know when I'm supposed to be checking the meat and going back and looking it over. Other things in here are like little tiny whisks, little brushes for glazing or basting, some oyster knives that we need to either peel back ribs, the skin off ribs, or obviously for oysters as well. Next we'll get into square cutters and circle cutters. These are kind of more cutting out different things that if I'm doing like a little bit higher end dining dinners. Next thing that's very important is I always bring my whetstone, and this whetstone is made for my Japanese knives. But basically what a whetstone is, you can sharpen your knives and you need to make sure your knives are always sharp. But being a whetstone, we soak this in water and we don't use any oil. Pretty easy because water we can find everywhere, so we can sharpen our knives if we have to. Next thing I bring is a little pouch that has a bunch of thermometers in it and probes, whether that we're probing the food or we're probing the inside of smokers to make sure that we don't have to open the cooker to see where all the temperatures are at. So this has a bunch of different thermometers in it to kind of run into meats or actually run into smokers or grills so that we can obviously keep track of the temperatures that we're cooking at. Next layer is I built the styrofoam trays that hold all my knives. Now, one of the reasons I did this is because one, it makes me feel protected that my knives aren't gonna get chipped, bent, or broken while they're in traveling. It's also nice to have them in these little carriers so we can see each one. But the main thing is I have knives that were handmade in Japan. They're called Masamotos. Obviously, everyone doesn't need that type of knife. I do it because this is my job and my career. First one I kind of go through is you have this long slicing knife. The great thing about Masamoto knives, they're made out of 100% carbon. So you'll see that they'll have little stains on it, and that can be from acid or it can be from different foods that get on there. But 100% carbon is great because you don't have to sharpen your knife as much once you sharpen it, as well as it keeps an edge longer, as well as it's easy to sharpen when you do sharpen it. I like to keep my knives very, very sharp. One, that cuts down on getting cut, because what happens if a knife is dull, you start to go through something and then it gets stuck, and then when you put extra pressure is when it slides through and usually comes out and hits your knuckle or anything. I like to keep my knives sharp enough to basically shave the hair off your arm. That's the slicing knife from Masamoto. Then I kind of go into the chef's knife, the everyday all-use knife. I use this for chopping herbs. You can cut meats that are cooked. This is your workhorse knife. This is the one that you're going to be using all the time. This knife should feel very comfortable in your hand. The great thing about carbon knives is they're a little bit lighter as well, and they're very well balanced, handmade in Japan. One of the other knives I really like to use is this butchery knife. You can tell it's butchery because it has this strong triangle shape. This big thick end down here is for going through bones, i.e. chicken bones or any type of bones that you need to clip through when you're butchering. It also has this very fine tip so that we can get in nooks and crannies and around bones when we're butchering out whole animals, as well as it's super sharp to clean silver skin. One knife out of here that I also do like is the scalloped serrated knife. It's scalloped because it doesn't have as many indentations between the knife blade itself. This knife is very great for slicing brisket. So as you get into this knife kit, we'll pull this out. So you have here the other butchering knife I was talking about by Victorinox. This one is very flexible, very easy to get and bend around bones, as well as it has this nice shape to it. So when you're cleaning silver skin, you can really get down and take the silver skin off. Other things in this little tray here are the chef's fork, which I really like to bring along in case I'm doing any carving or type of pasta work. And then we have a steel and kitchen shears. Now, a steel, a lot of people think this is to sharpen your knives. It actually is to hone your knives. So this knife here, I'll show you. As you see a lot of chefs, well, they'll take this knife and they'll hone it on a steel. Now what happens when you're cutting on cutting boards a lot is the blade itself gets bent a little bit, and what happens is the knife doesn't feel as sharp. So as you run this on the steel, The steel hones the knife or straightens the knife blade back out so the knife feels sharper than it did before. A lot of people think it's sharpening the knife. It actually is just honing the knife, correcting the blade angle so that it's back straight. Last thing in this tray is kitchen shears. These are a valuable tool for all type of things, whether you're trimming herbs or you're spatchcocking a chicken. A good pair of kitchen shears is ideal. This pair is made by Joyce Chin. These are my favorite ones. One, they're very sharp. Two, they have short blades so you can maneuver them very easily, and they have a very fine tip. So when you are doing like very intricate work with snipping herbs or snipping something off meats for photos or anything like that, you can get in real tight and close. So this is a valuable tool to have. When we get to the next tray, I have some different odds and end tools here. Basically, we have the Thermapen probe thermometer with an infrared reader again. Again, I said I like to cook by temperatures. I like to test those temperatures throughout the cook so that I know I'm progressing in the right time that I need to cook or finish when I'm gonna need to finish the food by. So I always have a probe to kind of know where the meat's at and how it feels like. Obviously, a lot of barbecues done by touch, but these always help reiterate whatever you're cooking, and it's in the right range of where we're trying to be. I have a fish spatula. The reason I really love a fish spatula is because one, it's very flexible, and it's easy to get under grills or grill grates and pans when you're taking meat off the pan or taking it out of the pan. I have two smaller spatulas that I use for kind of plating needs. That kind of goes along with the tweezers that I use for kind of more fine-tuned plating. I have a lighter. Obviously, we got to light a lot of grills or a lot of fires, so we always need a little bit of fire around. And then obviously I have a peeler over here. Obviously comes in handy whether we're doing any type of stock work or any type of cooking work. For any more tips, recipes, or products, please visit lillyskew.com, or you can find us on YouTube and Instagram.